Welcome to After the Buzzer Sounds, the UK's only weekly podcast dedicated solely to the Detroit Pistons. I'm Neil Watson, and this is episode 1 of After the Buzzer Sounds. Welcome to After the Buzzer Sounds, the UK's only podcast dedicated solely to the Detroit Pistons. I realise that claim is a bit bold. However, after doing some research of my own, I've yet to find any podcast based in the UK that's dedicated solely to the Detroit Pistons. So not only are we the only weekly, I think we're the only podcast that's dedicated to the Detroit Pistons. But if you do find one, then do let me know, and I'll amend that. You can email us at afterthebuzzersounds@gmail.com. Now, I started up After the Buzzer Sounds in July, and it started out as a blog, but due to not being able to find any time to sit down and type out the blog, I've decided to go down the podcast route. I've now got the technology to do it, and I think it's a great opportunity to use that. So so we have the blog, and it's www.afterthebuzzersounds.blogspot.com. So you can go and check that out. I think there's maybe three or four little posts on there that there's one about Ben Wallace re-signing, and a bit about Greg Monroe and Tariq White being drafted and stuff. So there's a couple of posts there. I'm going down the podcast route, so this is episode 1, and I felt that with it being the off season and being the summer of free agency, I felt that we would tackle that in the first episode. So we'll start with free agency. It kind of dominated this summer, and it was kind of dominated solely by one free agent, and wonder what his decision was going to be. But the less said about him and that decision, the better. It's been done to death on forums and in the media, all over the internet. So you all know what his decision was. I don't particularly care, if I'm honest. I think the one that did kind of jump out at me and raise my eyebrows was probably Carlos Boozer moving to Chicago. I think that that's a really good move for their team, and makes them instantly better, which is slightly unfortunate, seeing as they are our division rivals. But so what about our team? Well, we managed to re-sign 2 players and sign an all-star. So not too bad. We managed to re-sign Big Ben for 2 years, which I'm assuming will mean he'll retire as a Piston. I don't think I really need to go into the details of what Ben brings to the team. He's a fantastic player, big player for us, and I think that we all know what he'll bring. But what I do hope, as part of this mandate that we've given him, the two-year contract, that part of it is that he has to take more of an active role when it comes to coaching these young guys coming through. So it'll be good to see if the young guys learn anything from him. I'd be very surprised if they don't, because I think he has a way about him that I think that the guys will be drawn to. So hopefully that works out, and I look forward to that next year. We have also re-signed Will Bynum, which again I'm happy with. I wanted us to re-sign him, although I've seen quite a lot of negativity over us re-signing him. Although I can't really see any weight to any negative arguments. I think that, especially on the forums, I think that there's a lot of people kind of moaning about why the reasons why we shouldn't have signed him is because they were looking for us to sign someone else, which I think is nonsense and a bit of a bit showing a bit of disrespect to what Will Bynum can bring. Because I think that we've signed him for 3 years for something like $10 million or something like that. He'll give us explosiveness off the bench. I don't think he's a starter, but he's certainly making all the right noises in terms of wanting to become a starter. So I'd rather have that kind of attitude than someone coming in and picking up his money, which $3 million a year for someone who I know will definitely help the team. I'm happy with that. I don't think he's a point guard, but then I don't think that Rodney Stuckey is either. No matter how many times we're told he is, but I'll no doubt touch upon that at a later date. So to the big one, our big free agent signing this year for a grand total of about $1 million is Tracy McGrady. I never ever thought I'd ever see T-Mac suit up in a Pistons jersey. I loved him in Orlando. I actually have his jersey somewhere, the Orlando jersey, so I'll go and dig that out somewhere, dust it off. I'm not expecting the performances that he gave down there, but I do think that we have a very useful player, and really not a whole lot to lose from this move. It's not a lot of money, and we get a player who on his day has the ability to do things that other guys can't. I also think that we're going to get something that New York, and certainly for the last couple of seasons, Houston, I don't think they really got what we're getting, which is a player that's hungry to prove people wrong. He's taken a few knocks over the last couple of years, and I think that he's making all the right noises of getting himself back in shape and wanting to prove people wrong. So while like Bynum, I don't think that T-Mac is automatically a starter. I don't think he will be a starter, unless of course he does deliver on his promise to surprise us all and starts to explode. And then we'll find ourselves in a fantastic position, because we'll either have guys that are coming off the bench that are hungry and wanting to do the job, or we've got guys that can slot into the starting lineup, and it allows us options in terms of trades. We can maybe trade off one of our big earners. I think that I'll give my views on that in a later podcast. I think the two names that kind of jump out are Rip Hamilton and Tayshaun Prince. But I think that it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I didn't plan to have a lot of chat on this one. It's just a first podcast, first episode. We'll see how it pans out. Hopefully you've enjoyed listening to my views, but there's if there's anything else that you'd like to hear me talk about, I'd love to hear from you. So you can send in your thoughts on the state of the Pistons. It can be absolutely anything. Who's going to be our best player this year? Trade rumors that you've heard, what you think we need to improve on, predictions on how the upcoming season will go, and I'll give you my views on that. So yeah, thanks for listening, and this has been the first episode of After the Buzzer Sounds. Hopefully it's one of many, and I look forward to hearing what you think. Thanks very much. Cheers.